Hi guys, so today is actually a continuation of this piece, so I will have a link to the first video next to me and also in the description. But yeah, we can go ahead and get started into this one because there is a lot of different things that I did in this piece than what my normal process was. And that was really exciting because like I mentioned in the first video, I really wanted this piece to be something that I could experiment with and try out different things and just really take a step back from my typical thought process and the way that I usually go about creating a piece, and for me to be able to look at it differently and take those steps differently than I normally do. So I think this one was actually really successful, especially considering that it helped me try out some different things and a different process for creating this piece. So I'm really excited. I think it was really helpful. At the very beginning of this video, I was trying out a few different things that I could add to the piece. Where it started at, I knew that it wasn't complete. It was still missing an element that I wanted in the piece. I just didn't know what I wanted in there yet. So I was trying out a few different things, and I had it on a layer that was set to overlay, so it I always love overlay. I love what it does to the colors beneath it, but that was helpful for me to be able to sketch out a few different looks that I might have wanted, different symbolisms, and just a little bit more detail to it. And ultimately, I really like this wing shape, or the idea of wings, and I kind of put that a little bit on the back burner, I guess, because I decided I wanted to start working on the background, and I wanted it to be space, and I wanted to paint it. Usually I get kind of a space effect where I'll go in and I will paint it, but I'll use more textures, and I don't end up playing a lot more with colors or with really the actual shape that you find in space. Like, I was looking at actual photographs of nebula, and they are absolutely gorgeous, and there's just so many different colors, and the way that it's actually formed was really interesting because it's normally I'm a lot more blendy and amorphous when I'm trying to do space. So that was helpful for me to actually look at those pictures and try to reference those when I was painting the background. And I did have the character. He was in a folder that was on top of the background, and then I was painting the background below it. And I knew that I wanted to do the entire background, not just around him, because I wasn't 100% sure on all the effects that I wanted to do, or if I wanted to resize him or anything like that. So I did want to be able to have the ability to change that around and to have still the background there and really be able to edit it out and change things. And if I had just painted around him, that probably would have been something that would have been a lot more concrete, because I wouldn't have necessarily resized him or changed him or moved him if I had to go in and paint just a little bit more around it. And here's where I think that I really started loving this piece, where I wasn't entirely sure at the beginning where it was going to go, or if I was really going to like it that much, but I really started loving it at this point. I loved the background. I was really excited about that. And when I started working on him, I started getting this look where he was fading a little bit into the background. So that it was a little bit more of that space texture coming through. And I made sure that actually how I did it was I painted the entire shape, his entire shape, on one layer, and I had it gradiated so it was much lighter at the top, so it was like a light gray, and then it gradiated into a darker gray. And on top of that, I painted his face and his hair and certain details opaquely, so those layers were set to complete opacity. But the layer that had the bulk of his clothing and his helmet and everything, I played with the layer mode on that one a lot. So I don't know what it actually ended up being, but I think it was like, I tried a lot of different things like soft light and overlay, and I played with the opacity so that way I could have the space coming through a little bit more, and the colors that I had for the background was influencing his clothing, and it kind of correlated a little bit more with that. And I really liked that effect. It was really cool, and it was exciting to be able to let go of how I normally work when I'm doing colors, because normally I try to think about what is that color going to be. And for this one, it was very influenced by the colors that was already there, and I just looked at it and I found areas that need a little bit more contrast, so I would go in and darken it, or I would lighten it a little bit, or give it a little bit of a different hue. But this is just really a very organic way of doing it, because it was just building on top of what was already there rather than trying to shoehorn in another color or find the color that fit with it. and it really flowed well, and I just really loved how that turned out. And yeah, ultimately, I think that I end up turning the opacity on the bulk of his layer up a little bit more, so the actual details of the space background behind him doesn't come through quite as much, but the colors still affect it, and it still has this harmony to it. But that is actually pretty much it for this piece. This will be up on my store, which is exciting because I really actually love how this one turned out. But here's actually the print of it. And yeah, I'm really excited. I really love him, and I'm excited to get more into more space themed and a little bit more science fiction, because I think that's the kind of thing that I love looking at, but I don't really create nearly as much. So yeah, this will be up on my shop. There will be a link right below me, a little button where you can click on to check that out. And yeah, that is pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to hit subscribe so you can catch all my future art videos. And until then, I'll see you at my next one.